Chapter 10, the Revenue Cycle Management. There's a great introduction on the page of 175 in the book. Let me flip this slide real quick. So here are the class objectives again. These are similar, or they're identical to the learning outcomes in the chapter, so that's great. Okay, so the chapter starts off with the introduction, kind of telling you what we have been doing and how what we've done in the past has been very fragmented and departmentalized. It has not been working. Let me rephrase that. It's worked, but it's not worked the best. So we're always looking for new integrated approaches, and the slide explains something very similar to what's said in the chapter. So I'm not going to read that to you. Review that and let me know if you have any questions. The components of the recycle management continues in the book on page 176 and in this PowerPoint. First part of the revenue cycle is the front end process. Then there is a middle, and then there's also the middle process. Oh, the back end. There it is. I didn't circle that. The back end process. And I'm reading from your pages in your book, 176, 177. This slide speaks of in the prospective environment, which is new. So retrospective, let me go back a little bit. Retrospective is what we have been doing, where you would go to a healthcare facility, whether it was a doctor's office, urgent care, or hospital, and you get your services, even surgeries, and then you get a bill later. In this new prospective environment, there are some improvements, but definitely a revenue cycle management, that approach has to be manned or managed, that's what I'm trying to say, by several people within a healthcare facility. It's definitely, if it's very small, one person could do it, but really you want multiple people involved in this for checks and balances. Okay, so I mentioned with the retrospective, you have your surgery or you visit the ER, and then later you would get a bill, and you wouldn't even know what the bill was, what was included. With prospective, this type of information is shared pre-visit, so that is an improvement. All right, so in a prospective environment, it's entirely up to the healthcare facility to manage their profit and loss. Okay. Critical element, the reimbursement processes, yes. Okay, so let me go back to the book. Components of the revenue cycle, like I said, is on 166, 167. The first part is the front end. You can read what that entails. Here's a nice little figure from page 177 also in the PowerPoint. Here's the second part. Not most important, but the case management gets involved in the second part. That is somebody who comes alongside and helps explain more to the patients and the caregivers as far as payment. Utilization management is also on page 181. It goes into that. The third part is the back end. This is where the area where they process bills, posting payments, correcting any claims. Insurance companies will deny many times that this is the back end as part of the revenue cycle is where this type of stuff occurs. So here's another review of the front end process. There's 7 slides in this. Again, I'm not going to read it to you, but it's coming directly from the book also. Be sure to read both. Read the chapter and then review using this PowerPoint. All right, here we come to the middle process. This is on page 181 in the book. Middle process represents the intersection of clinical practice and billing. Case management and utilization. Case management is defined as a collaborative process of assessment, planning, facilitation, care coordination, evaluation, and advocacy for options, and page 181, the right side is that first paragraph. Utilization management is the evaluation of medical necessity, appropriateness, and efficiency of using healthcare services. So you really do need both. You need case management and utilization management to confirm the revenue cycle is appropriate or to manage it. Charge capture is listed on page 182. Charge capture continued. Charge description master, CMD. That's on page 183. It's the description or the I'm losing, not abbreviation. The abbreviation is listed there, but the meaning of what this is listed on page 183. Continue, correct coding initiative. Yes, that's on the bottom of page 184 in the book. The maintenance of the CDM is a multidisciplinary activity requiring a team having experience in coding and clinical procedures. I'm reading that from the middle of the left column on 184. Actually, that kind of goes back with this slide. That's fine. Okay. Clinical documentation. I hit too fast. Here is that. CDI. So many abbreviations, you guys, but they all are important and mean something. Next page in the chapter is talking about coding, which is still in the middle process of the revenue cycle. Read about that. 185, we go into the back end. Come on, here we go. Claims processing. This is where we talk about payments being posted. Payment posting is where the insurance company pays the claim that was submitted. Denials is also a part of the back end process. Denial management, there's got to be somebody in charge of doing that too, because if the insurance company denies a claim, it might be just something as simple as fixing a date or a ICD, I said ICD-9, ICD-10, are we up 10 or 11 now? Let me go back to see what, it's ICD-10 now in this book. I do think we're actually in practice that we're up to 11 or 12. That's how often the ICD, the coding changes. Okay, and so here's the last slide, which is slightly cut off. Qualities for measurements. Quality measures for improvement. Of course, there's always room to improve. In the conclusions on page 186, effective revenue cycle management will improve the patient's overall experience and ensure the facility has resources that they need. So it's very important that we understand the revenue cycle and hire the appropriate people to manage it. Please let me know if you have any questions after reading this chapter and reviewing the PowerPoint.